Work vocabulary. Today, we will share key vocabulary for talking about work. This is such a large topic, but today we will identify some key work vocabulary that you will find useful when talking about work and jobs. What do you do for a living? If someone asks what you do for a living, they are asking, what is your job? Or, how do you make money? Another way to ask this question would be, what do you do for work? Employee. If a company gives you a job, you are an employee of that company. An employee is a person who works for someone else for money. Most workers are employees. Employees are employed directly by an employer and have an employment contract. Worker. Worker is similar to employee, but includes some extra people. A worker is anyone who works for someone else for money, but they may not be paid by that person directly or have an employment contract. All employees are workers, but so are agency workers and freelance workers. Employer. An employer is anyone who has someone who is paid to work for them with an employment contract. An employer is usually a business or organisation, but is sometimes an individual. Self-employed. Someone who is self-employed works for themselves or their own company. Some people who are self-employed own a business selling products or providing services to other people. Other self-employed people work freelance, selling services to other companies. To be your own boss. Being your own boss means to be self-employed. Self-employed people can be described this way as they decide their own work hours and tasks, rather than being told what to do by a boss. To run your own business. Some self-employed people run their own business. If you run your own business, you oversee and manage a business that you own. This can range from a small business making products or providing services to customers out of your home, to owning a large business with many employees. Occupation. If a form asks you for your occupation, it is asking what you do for work. Occupation means a job or profession. Your occupation is usually described more generally than your job title. For example, someone may have the job title Marketing Team Leader, but describe their occupation as marketer. Profession. A profession is an occupation that requires specialised training. Some professions are regulated, which means you have to have certain qualifications or be on a register to call yourself that type of professional. Examples of professionals include nurses, engineers, and lawyers. Trade. A trade is a manual job that requires specialised training. These usually require years of learning, often done through an apprenticeship. Examples of trades include bricklaying, plumbing, and carpentry. Earn a living. Earning a living means making enough money to live on. Asking how someone makes their living is another way of asking them what they do for work. Dead-end job. If someone is stuck in a dead-end job, this means they have a job that doesn't allow them to progress in their career. This may be a job where they are unlikely to get a promotion, or where they hold the most senior role possible. There are many different types and categories of work. These categories can describe how much you work, what type of employment you hold, or what industry you work in. Full-time work. Someone who works more than 30 hours a week is described as working full-time. Working 40 hours a week is common for full-time workers, although this can vary. Someone working full-time should be able to afford to cover basic living costs. Part-time work. Working less than 30 hours a week is called part-time work. Part-time work is more common for young people, students, parents, or as a second household income. Part-time work may not provide enough money to cover all living costs. Job share. A job share happens where two or more people share a job role that could be done by one person. Job shares often happen when people wish to work part-time. One person will work for part of the week, and the other person works on the days the other has off work. Casual work. Where someone does not have fixed hours and is not guaranteed work, they can be described as doing casual work. Casual work is a form of temporary work. Casual work is common in industries where the demand for work varies often, such as construction. Freelance work. Freelance work is a flexible type of work where a person works for multiple different companies without commitment to one employer. This style of work is common in creative industries. People who do freelance work are called freelancers. Temporary work. Temporary work is work that is done for a short period of time. Temporary workers are often employed through an agency rather than directly. Voluntary work. Voluntary work is work that is unpaid. People may do voluntary work to gain experience or to contribute to their communities or another worthy cause. 0-hour contract. A 0-hour contract is an employment contract where the employer does not guarantee to offer the employee any minimum number of hours of work. A 9-to-5 job. A 9-to-5 job is a job with a typical 8-hour workday, worked from Monday to Friday. Most office jobs are 9-to-5s. Nowadays, the exact hours worked may vary slightly, but the length of the working day is consistent. Blue-collar worker. A blue-collar worker is someone who works doing manual labour in industries such as agriculture, manufacturing, and construction. Blue-collar workers usually make less money than white-collar workers. and are less likely to be university educated. The name blue-collar worker comes from the denim or blue overalls that are often worn in these industries. White-collar worker. A white-collar worker is someone who works in a professional office job. White-collar workers are more likely to be middle class and university educated. White-collar workers are named after the white collar of the shirt worn with a traditional suit and tie. Apprenticeship. An apprenticeship is a form of education where someone learns a trade through experience on the job. Apprenticeships usually last for 1 to 3 years, and sometimes also involve classroom learning. In exchange for their education, apprentices are paid a much lower wage. Internship. An internship is another form of learning that happens through experience on a job. Unlike apprenticeships, internships can be paid or unpaid. Internships can last for anywhere between a few weeks and a couple of years. Internships usually take place in professional industries and are usually done by students or recent graduates. Sometimes students are required to do an internship as part of their qualification. In the UK, this type of internship is also known as a placement. Today, we have discussed essential work and job vocabulary for using in everyday English conversations. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know what you'd like to see next in the comments.